They said I had already won. The property was legally mine. The court case was over. So why did I block every single one of my relatives the very next day? My name is Marcus, and the day the judge ruled in my favor, my family stopped pretending they ever cared about me. For over 8 months, we had been fighting in court over the property my late father left behind, a house he built with his own hands, a house I grew up in, a house my relatives suddenly decided belonged to everyone the moment he was gone. They challenged the will, they questioned the transfer documents, they even accused me of manipulating my father before his death. But the paperwork held, the signatures matched, the ownership transfer was legally valid, and in the end, the court ruled that the property was mine. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt watched, because the moment we stepped out of that courtroom, something shifted. No congratulations, no quiet acceptance, just silence. And then the messages started. First it was my aunt. You didn't have to do this publicly. Then my cousin. You could have just talked to us like family. Then my uncle. You've embarrassed all of us. Embarrassed them for defending my father's final decision? Over the next few days, their tone changed. Polite disappointment turned into passive-aggressive guilt. Guilt turned into blame. Blame turned into threats. My phone buzzed constantly. Calls I didn't answer, texts I didn't reply to, voicemails telling me I had ruined everything. At first, I thought they just needed time, but then I found out something that changed everything. A week after the case ended, I received a letter from a real estate firm. They were thanking me for my cooperation, except I had never spoken to them. Confused, I called the number listed. That's when they explained. Someone claiming to represent the family estate had already been in negotiations to sell the property months before the court ruling. They had submitted valuation reports, discussed development potential, even drafted preliminary agreements, assuming the property would eventually be divided among family members, which meant while they were fighting me in court, they were planning to sell the house behind my back, my father's house, the one they insisted they wanted to keep in the family. When I confronted my uncle about it, he didn't deny it. We were just exploring options, he said calmly. Options that involved selling something you didn't own? He sighed. You're being emotional again. Emotional? That word again? Like protecting what my father left me was some kind of overreaction? That's when I realized the court case hadn't changed anything. It had just exposed them. Over the next few days, they started showing up at the house unannounced. At first, it was small things. My cousin knocking on the door asking to talk, my aunt dropping by to check on me, my uncle parking across the street for hours at a time. Then it escalated. One morning, I woke up to find my front gate unlocked. Another day, I noticed someone had tampered with the mailbox. And then came the offers. We'll buy your share. You don't have to manage this alone. It's too much responsibility for one person. My share? There was no share, but they kept repeating it, like if they said it enough times, it would become true. The final straw came 2 weeks after the ruling. I received an email from a developer addressed to me, attaching a draft agreement to purchase the property, except it wasn't from me. It was forwarded from my uncle. Apparently, he had told them I was reconsidering the sale, that I just needed time. Time to process, time to accept what was best for everyone. He had spoken on my behalf again. That night, I sat in my father's study, the same room where he used to review construction plans late into the evening. And for the first time since the case ended, I felt unsafe in my own home. Winning hadn't stopped them. It had only made them desperate. So the next morning, I did something they never expected. I blocked every single one of them. My aunt, my uncle, my cousins, even the ones who had stayed silent during the case, because silence hadn't meant support. It had meant agreement. Within hours, emails started arriving. You can't just cut us off. We're still family. This is childish. Then came the warnings. You're going to regret this. You'll need us one day. This isn't over. But for me, it was. I changed the locks, installed security cameras, redirected all communication through my lawyer, and for the first time in months, my phone stopped buzzing. No guilt, no pressure, no manipulation disguised as concern, just silence. Peaceful silence. A week later, my lawyer called. Apparently, one of my cousins had tried to contact the developer again, claiming negotiations were back on. This time they asked for written authorization. Authorization they didn't have and never would, because without my consent, nothing could happen. That was the moment I understood something important. The property battle wasn't just about land, it was about control. And the only way to protect what my father left me was to remove myself from the people trying to take it. Going no contact wasn't an overreaction, it was survival, because sometimes the biggest threat to your future is the people who claim to be part of it. After winning the legal battle for his late father's property, Marcus discovers his relatives had secretly negotiated to sell it months earlier, forcing him to cut all contact when they continue acting on his behalf without consent, proving the real fight was never about inheritance but control.